Yo, what's up guys, Boss here, and I'm back with another YouTube video. And as you guys can see, I finished 39th in the world last season. So normally, if I were to finish 39th in the world, I wouldn't be extremely excited because I finished, 5th in the world before, 6th in the world. And if you guys have been watching some of my videos in the past, you know, after getting those finishes, my goal now is a top 3 finish or even a number 1. So normally a 39th finish I wouldn't be extremely excited about, but the reason why I'm really happy with this finish, even though to me it normally wouldn't be special, what made this season, kind of this finish made me kind of like proud of myself is because I didn't give up. What actually happened was when there was 6 or 7 hours left of the season, I was at about 6,800 trophies, which is significantly lower than 7,527 trophies where I finished the season. I kind of went on, I don't know what happened, but my mindset kind of changed. I was almost like, I wouldn't really say at the point of giving up, but my mindset wasn't very good. But then out of nowhere, I went on like some insane win streaks. I kind of just, I don't know what happened. I started playing really well. And what I used is this RG giant skeleton deck. You guys might have seen it around. It's a very good deck, has some great defense with the fisherman, as well as the zappies and the hunter, and your offense is really good with the giant skeleton and RG. Can be really annoying for your opponent to stop, and you have that earthquake as well to help you break through buildings. So before we get to the first game, if you guys want to support me, you can use my creator code BOSS. You can use it in any Supercell game. It helps support me, helps support the channel, and I really appreciate all you guys who use my code. It means a lot. So let me show you guys the games from last season that got me to 39th in the world. Insane comeback, probably my best season comeback ever. The season where I finished 5th and 6th in the world, I think earlier in the day I was outside of the top 200, but this I was like top 1,000 or something. I was like so low, and the fact that I came back and finished 39th made me pretty happy, and overall good season. So I'm going to show you guys this game versus Jaffo here. I'm going to probably show you guys 6 or 7 games, which I think would be beneficial for you guys to watch. Also keep in mind no balance changes, so nothing in this deck is going to be getting a nerf, so this is a good deck, for you guys to learn the next couple months, because if you guys didn't hear, the balance changes are going to be every 3 months. So I'm going to speed it up 2 times speed in single elixir, and then in double and triple we'll put it at 1 times. That way we can just get more games in. But basically you can see here he did a really nice kite, but we get the king tower activated with the fisherman. I'm actually, guys, really happy I ended up beating Jaffo. It's kind of funny. If you guys remember a few months ago when I finished like 23rd in the world, Jaffo was the reason I didn't finish 2nd in the world. Had I won versus him, I would have finished 2nd in the world. But instead I lost to him and then lost a game after. And as a result, I ended up finishing 23rd. So I kind of got, in a way, kind of revenge against him. Not in a serious way. Like, I mean, I know who Jaffo is. He's a really good player. It's incredible how he makes his Goblin Giant Double Prince deck work every single season. We're coming into double elixir here, so let's slow it down to 1 time speed. You can see already a slight lead for me. I got the king tower activated as well. I honestly have to say I don't think Jaffo played this very perfectly. I don't think he played it like as well as I expected. I feel like he kind of right here was a little aggressive. He tried to go for a tower trade, but luckily for us, I did have like zappies for defense, and I ended up defending this pretty nicely. So you can see your zappies and fishermen are kind of your best ways of defending. They get a lot of value. Earthquake also kills a goblin gang, so you can always like utilize that on defense when you need to in certain situations. And at this point, it was pretty much good game. He already, yeah, it looks like he gave up right here. But yeah, Jaffo, really good player. I can actually show you guys he's finished 2nd in the world. The season where I was going to finish 2nd in the world if I beat him, he ended up getting it. So yeah, really good player. I'll show you that, I'll show you guys this next one versus Firkin. Here he's using RG, a different variant. He's a good player as well. I think he's got a couple, good finishes. 30th last season, best season 22nd, so pretty good. I guess RG player too. I actually would say, I don't know what this matchup is, but I honestly think that RG Firewall has slight matchup just because Earthquake for me doesn't get too much value, but I still managed to, I guess you could say, play really well and find a way to win. So I'm just kind of starting off slow, cycling my zappies in the back. And then in this match, I don't want to be too aggressive because I can be punished for it. I need to react to what he does. You can see he goes Royal Giant so aggressively. So now after he does that, I go ahead and go in for my own Royal Giant, knowing that I have the Hunter as well as the Fisherman kind of for the counter push. Really nice Fisherman here. It ends up pulling his Fisherman in, which makes this push easier to defend. If you guys are wondering why I called the good game, because in my opinion, it's not that good of a matchup, and you can also see he's got a good amount of tower damage, so I wasn't really, you know, I was still, I guess, like, I was still gonna be playing my best, obviously, like, I'm still, like, confident in myself I could win, but just, I felt like in this situation there wasn't really a reason for me to win, but I think he made a couple mistakes, like right there that ghost was late, so my hunter ended up getting a shot on the tower, which is obviously something he could have prevented, and he goes for a hunter here to clean up the zappies. We're getting to double elixir here, so I'll slow it down to 1x speed. I just go ahead and cycle my fisherman. Really nice electro spirit. It actually stuns the hunter, so the bar barrel can end up taking it out. And then I believe right here, I just go ahead and cycle my giant skeleton in the back. I decided to not go for an RG because he fireballed the hunter and the fisherman, and I knew he had a log in rotation, so he would have just been able to completely finish those off and defend my RG really easily. So that's why I'm saying, because I kind of have a slightly more expensive deck, I need to play a little bit more passively. So giant skeleton is a nuisance for him. That's how in a lot of matchups you end up winning, because of the giant skeleton. And you just see he has to spend so much elixir to take it out. I believe the bomb here ends up, killing the ghost as well. And just like that, I'm in the lead somehow, some way, just off of one giant skeleton RG push. And then this is where he really messed up. I think you guys are going to see he fireballs. He commits all of his elixir on offense. He was really hoping he could take our tower. And you guys will see really close ending here. 120 HP on our tower. I go RG at the bridge. He has to cycle 4 cards before he can get back to a fireball. And unfortunately for him, he kind of spent all of his elixir on offense, so he's not going to have the elixir he needs. Fireball's going to come down right now, but it's not going to take our tower in time. We both say good game. Really nice win there. I mean, I honestly, as I said, even though I won, I still think it's a good matchup for our opponent, just because his fireball gets way more value in the match than our earthquake, and I just think he was a little bit too aggressive at some points in the match, and that fireball at the end of the game definitely cost him as well. So let's get into the next game here versus Pandora, who is using minor wall breakers. Pandora's a really good player too. He's a Japanese player. He's I would consider him a pretty versatile player. He prefers to run cycle decks though. He runs a lot of cycle decks, and he finished 15th last season, so he actually ended up finishing better than I did. Best season 4th. My best finish is 5th, so overall probably better player than me as of right now. He's a really good player. So let's go ahead and watch this game. We'll put it at 2x speed again, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that this is the best matchup either. I had to play this pretty much perfectly. I mean, it's hard to play a match perfectly, but I feel like I made very little mistakes, and that allowed me to win. And I don't think Pandora played this perfectly here. The reason why I don't think this is a good matchup is because I played against Mugi, who I lost to after I played versus Pandora, and I lost to him, and it wasn't even really that close, and I feel like I played it as best as I could and still lost. And I feel like the reason why it's hard is because if he plays good defense, and because he has the delivery, the hunter, the bomb tower, even though I have earthquake for the bomb tower, it's still so hard for me to break through, and with him having a faster cycle, I can't really out-cycle him either. But basically, what ends up happening is I find a way to overwhelm him in double and triple elixir. So I'm going to go ahead and slow it down here as we get into double. I think I even I do the shame goblin emote, because I mean, look at the lead he had. I mean, he didn't even get wall breakers to connect. It's just fully minor and earthquake damage. This is where I think he might have messed up a little bit. I don't agree with this opposite lane pressure on his end. I think that was a little bit aggressive, and then this allowed me to kind of just, I guess, get some dual lane pressure going here. I mean, it didn't do much at this point, but it kind of made things awkward for him, I guess is the best way to put it. And then I just clean up these wall breakers really nice and easily. And you can see I barely made a dent in either one of his towers, and he's already got a good lead on mine. So I just go for a really nice Electro Spirit here. Electro Spirit gets so much value against the bats. That's probably one of the ways, only ways I'm able to win this matchup. I'm even calling the good game, well played, because again, obviously I'm still going to play the best I can. I'm not doing that because I'm, tilted, or I think there's no way I'm going to win. I'm just saying that because it's a good matchup for him, and I just didn't think I was going to be able to break through. So yeah, you can see RG gets stopped really easily, He goes in for a delivery. This is one mistake he made. The delivery was actually late. You saw the RG ended up getting a connection. He had the elixir for it, but he played it late. He allowed the hunter to get a hit. That's 2 mistakes on his end. As I said, he didn't play it perfectly, which is why he lost. So, I mean, if they play it perfectly, I think there's no way I should have won this matchup. But Miner Royale Breaker is a very high skill cap deck, so usually they're going to make at least 1 or 2 mistakes. Especially if it's like last few hours of the season and they're really nervous or whatever. But guys, watch this ending. This ending was pretty insane. I don't know how I even managed to save my tower, but you can see Earthquake gets cycled again. That's going to put him back in the lead. And even though I got a lot of damage on the left lane, I'm still really not convinced that like I'm going to win this game, so I even do the angry face. Also, guys, I want to throw this out there. A lot of you guys like know when I record videos, I don't really BM, but when I'm in a really intense game, for whatever reason, sometimes I'll like use emotes, because the way I see it is it can actually like throw off your opponent. It can kind of make them overconfident. It can kind of like, in a way, make them confused, because I'm someone who doesn't use a lot of emotes. So if I'm using emotes, it could confuse them. It makes them like think for a second, like, wait, why is he using emotes? Or like, or it makes them overconfident. Like if you do angry faces or like stuff like that, they could like make some mistakes because they think like, oh, they're gonna win or whatever. You see bad delivery there, didn't hit the zappies. Again, I'm not saying the emotes are the reason why I won, but what I'm saying is like it's all about, honestly, the what do you call it, the mind game sometimes in matches. Like I guess you gotta, if you get a matchup that isn't the best, you have to do what you can to like, I guess, get in their head or whatever. But you can see here, my defense really good here. I caught the miner, completely stopped the wall breakers, and look at this. I'm down by almost 400 damage. Yeah, this match was just crazy. I even still said good game because I just didn't think like, I was going to win. But look at this. The RG somehow, some way, gets a connection. I stopped the wall breakers once again, and look at this guy's insane catch on top of the miner. I play everything down, I go for an earthquake on his tower, and I even spam WoW a couple of times because I'm just kind of in shock that I won the match. But, I mean, yeah, that's why I use emotes. I don't know if he had them muted or not, but yeah. If it's an intense game, I'll sometimes use them to try to get in their head. It's kind of, I remember, if you guys watch CRL, Surgical Goblin did the same thing. Emotes sometimes are a good way to, you know, win the mind game, get in your opponent's head. So let's go over this match versus Kid, who in my opinion is the best log bait player in the game. I would say this is a good matchup for us. I think I played versus log bait about 3 other times before I matched versus him last day of the season. I won it every time. It's a good matchup for me. It's definitely good for me because as soon as I know it's log bait, and if he lets the giant skeleton cross over the bridge, I can just go RG, because if he goes Inferno, it's going to hit the giant skeleton first, and I would just be able to earthquake it, because the RG takes it out before the RG gets hardly any damage dealt to it. So you can see that's exactly what happens. He goes for an Inferno, I earthquake the Inferno and the Princess, giant skeleton bomb kills the Goblin Gang, and we're already off to a good start. We did over 1,000 damage on his tower. So pretty much, the only thing you want to watch out for in this matchup is the Princess. If you're not careful, it can end up getting quite a lot of damage, which is annoying. I mean, it's good against the Zappies, it's good against the Hunter. So I go for Royal Giant at the bridge here, because his Inferno wasn't in cycle, so I knew he didn't have a good way of taking out the RG. I also had an Earthquake, so I know that I could have... Oh, actually, you know what? I had an Earthquake in cycle. If I were to play this over again, I would have gone for an Earthquake on the Goblin Gang and not a Bar Barrel. So even though I won this game, I made a pretty big mistake there, because this allowed him to punish me. But look at this. I do the smart play here. I wait. You guys are wondering, like, why do I wait? You guys might be asking, like, why am I not defending the Knight right now with the Fisherman? Because I know he's got a Goblin Barrel in cycle, and if I played my Fisherman, I wouldn't have Elixir to play a Hunter. So what I do is I wait, because I'm waiting for that Goblin Barrel so I can go for a Hunter, because that Knight I know isn't going to get too much damage by itself, but if he goes for a Goblin Barrel, and I were to, like, Fisherman the Knight, and then he goes, and then the Goblin Barrel gets all that damage, it would be way more. So I make sure I'm patient, I wait for the Goblin Barrel, and then when he goes in for it, I have my Hunter at the ready. I also go for a prediction for his Princess, really nice prediction there as well. So overall, after I made that very small mistake and I should have played an Earthquake on the Goblin Gang, some really nice plays from there. Very patient. I was, I knew exactly what he was going to do. Predicted his Princess. I was waiting for him to go for that Goblin Barrel, so I played a Hunter. Bad Rocket, in my opinion. I think that's at that point what 100% lost him the game. I completely disagree with that Rocket because now he doesn't have a lot of Elixir to, defend. I go for a Fisherman here to help take out the Inferno since he played it pretty high up. He plays the Knight right into the Giant Skeleton Bomb. So he's making a few mistakes too, even though I made that one mistake with the Earthquake. He's definitely making some mistakes. But overall, I think it's still my matchup. I don't think I have like a hard counter or anything, but it's a good matchup for me. And at this point, I just need to cycle 2 Earthquakes, so I'm applying pressure. Cycle my first one. Need to play 4 more cards to get back to 1. I cycle my, Fisherman, Electro Spirit, just to make sure I have my Barbarian Barrel back in cycle. I noticed the Juke. It was really easy to tell it was a Juke. And then I just cycle back to my next Earthquake. Really nice win there. Good matchup for me, so wasn't anything too special, though. And then we got in this game versus Expo. I'm going to show you guys this one versus Expo, this one versus P.E.K.K.A, and then that might be it. Or maybe maybe I'll show this one versus Golem too. I'm trying to show as many games as I can. That's why I'm speeding it up 2 times in single. So Expo, this is a good matchup. I, believe it or not, wouldn't say that this matchup is like... I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a great matchup for me, but the Expo player does have a chance of winning, and you guys might think that's crazy. Like, how could this Expo deck beat Giant Skeleton RGEQ? Well, I'm in a group chat, and there's some Expo players in it, and it turns out a really good Expo player named Ian, I think he finished, like, top 25 last season. I don't remember the entire ranking. He actually ended up beating Jupiter King, who is using RG Giant Skeleton. And I don't know how he won, but my best guess is if you get a big Expo lock in single Elixir, you can actually win. Now, I guess the tips for this matchup, I would say, is try not to give them too much Fireball value. As soon as I know he wants to start Fireball cycling my tower, I'm not going to play anything such as like Zappies or Fisherman behind my tower, because I don't want him to Fireball that, obviously. But you can see he shuts down this RG really well. It only gets 1 hit. And then I go for high Zappies because I don't want him to Fireball my towers. So you can see I've barely inflicted any damage on him. And this is why I think this matchup is definitely winnable for the Expo player. It's in my favor. Like, I should win it if I play well. But if the Expo player plays amazing, they definitely have a chance. So I go for an RG here. Barbell on the Archer as well. And, we don't really get any RG to connect at all this game. It's mostly been damage that I'm getting with the Earthquakes. So he's going to go for a Knight protecting the Archers. Really good play on his end. So yeah, overall, he's playing this game really well. I go for a Giant Skeleton kind of high up in the middle, so then that way I knew that the Expo would end up targeting it. And then I go for an RG to clean up as well. So yeah, he's not really able to get an Expo through, but I can't really get an RG to the tower. So really what this game comes down to is trying to overwhelm him in double and triple Elixir and just sneak 1 or 2 RG hits in. Also, I feel like why this is slightly my matchup is because I kind of have the luxury of cycling Earthquakes on his tower, whereas when he cycles a Fireball, that's a 4 Elixir investment, and Earthquake does more damage than Fireball. So that's kind of what helps me out and makes this matchup good for me. But you can see, I'm not really able to break through it all. And I'm always stuck playing, defense, pretty much. I can never really build up an RG Giant Skeleton push that I want, because if I do that, he'll just, like, punish with an Expo in the opposite lane. So I have to be really careful. I have to play this game very slow and cycle Earthquakes when I can. Like, right here, good Earthquake, hitting the Archer, hitting the tower, as well as the Knight, putting me in the lead. And then I just go for a Giant Skeleton. And then since he pre-placed the Tesla, I can just go for an RG on the right side of the Expo. And then these Archers, I believe I go Electro Spirit and Barbell to take them out. So pretty good plays on my end. I'm actually kind of surprised how close this game was. I mean, I really thought at first, because I think I destroyed Expo 1 or 2 times with this deck. And I thought that this matchup was like, I thought that RG Giant Skeleton had like a complete hard counter, but after this game, it kind of made me change my mind, because I feel like I played this pretty well, but it was still so close. Maybe there's a couple tricks and techniques that I'm supposed to use in this match that I didn't use. I'm not really sure, but I mean, you guys can see, again, he defends the RG. It doesn't get a single hit, and I'm only ahead at this point by a couple hundred damage, and he cycles a Fireball, I believe, soon, and takes the lead again. Or the Log did, but yeah, I cycle Earthquake, and then I think he goes for a Fireball right here, and a Log, and yeah, I mean, look at how close this game was. Like, that's a pretty close game. And I thought that this deck had, like, yeah, I thought that, honestly, it hard countered Expo, but the fact that I had 86 HP left on my tower kind of makes me rethink that. Maybe there's, again, a couple tricks or things that I could have done differently. Maybe one of them is trying to cycle my Hunter and Zappies less. Maybe the key in that match is cycling more Earthquakes. I'm not entirely sure, though. But regardless, it was really, really close. So look at this guy. This guy actually got banned. They're checking the accounts now in the top 200. They're being a lot more strict about it. So there's a lot more people getting banned because of the new CRL format. They're using ladders. So this guy got banned. I don't know who was pushing this account, but he ended up getting permanently banned, so that's unfortunate. But we'll go over this P.E.K.K.A match, because whenever I make RG videos, people always ask how I play versus P.E.K.K.A. So this will either be the last one, or I might show you guys how to beat Golem. And by the way, this deck hard counters Golem, so if you guys hate Golem, this is the deck for you. The reason why it hard counters Golem is your Zappies, Fisherman, and Hunter get so much value. Giant Skeleton as well. Giant Skeleton, cycle its same lane as the Golem, it kills all the support cards. But anyway, P.E.K.K.A shouldn't be a bad matchup. Your Zappies get so much value. Giant Skeleton's annoying for them. I believe in this situation I pressure the opposite lane with a Royal Giant, knowing that he just used his P.E.K.K.A. And I also know that my Hunter and Fisherman are amazing answers to the P.E.K.K.A as well, so I wasn't too worried to be aggressive. RG at the bridge, I followed up with a Hunter. This way it just kind of helps make sure that I can take out those support cards. And look at how nice this defense was. I think I go for, yeah, Fisherman here, and then what ends up happening is it pulls the P.E.K.K.A to the King Tower, and I actually get my King Tower activated. Not sure why he didn't zap the Fisherman. I think that was a mistake on his end. Maybe he was a little bit, like, nervous, or just he wasn't really paying attention, but he didn't zap my Fisherman right away, and had he done that, he would have actually prevented, he would have reset the Fisherman from pulling the P.E.K.K.A, and my King Tower never would have been activated, so that's definitely something he should have done if we were to play this match over again. But, you know, I'm not complaining. That worked really nicely for me. And at this point, I'm just playing defense, because I know that I still have almost half of my tower left on the left lane, and all I gotta do is cycle my Earthquake to take out, you know, his right tower. So I just go for a Fisherman here, and I know he had a zapping cycle to reset it, but honestly, any damage he got in the right lane didn't really matter to me. But I just go Giant Skeleton here. I'm kind of just clogging both lanes. That's kind of the beauty of the Zappies. You have defense in both lanes, and it's just really difficult in this situation for him to find any way to break through, because their defense is just so strong. And then I think at this point, I cycle my Earthquake soon, because he just dropped a poison on the tower, so I know he doesn't have too much elixir to pressure, and this also just makes sure I don't forget to take his tower in case there's somehow, some way he takes ours. I don't, you know, forget to, because that would be really bad. But that's going to be GG. Not too bad of a matchup in my opinion. I don't, like, I honestly would say it's my matchup. I don't even think P.E.K.K.A bridge spam is that good in the meta. Almost everything counters it. But anyway, let's go over this last game here. Versus Golem, just because Golem is and this guy finished pretty high up, 36 last season, actually slightly better than how I finished. Just because Golem's always, like, a deck people wonder how do you beat, because people think it's annoying. So I'll show you guys how you want to play versus Golem. So I just go ahead and cycle my Bar Barrel. I feel like, yeah, best starting plays with this deck, Bar Barrel, Zappies, or Giant Skeleton are usually your best starting plays. So I just cycle my Giant Skeleton. Again, it's a pretty safe starting play. When you have your Fisherman and Zappies in rotation, they can't really punish you. So it's a good play. He's just going to go Golem in the back, so I'm thinking, like, alright, I'm just going to take his left tower. Worst case scenario, we tower trade, but I knew there was no way he could defend, so I just go Royal Giant behind our Giant Skeleton. But look at this defense. This is why you hard counter Golem. I go for a Fisherman here. So look at this. Really nice and clean defense here. Hunter to the right side of my tower. Fisherman like that. Completely spaced out so he can't lightning either one of them. And look at what happens. Golem gets pulled to the King Tower. Bar Barrel comes in. And then Electro Spirit kind of helps to like distract everything. and my tower's pretty much at full health. I called a good game because I knew it was already over and I won. I mean, is it a little bit, like, overconfident? Maybe, but there was, again, all about the mind game, you know. Me saying this good game could also make him, you know, lose confidence that he won't win this match. So, no harm in saying it. And even if he comes back and somehow won, I could just mute emotes anyway. So I couldn't get karma for calling the early good game. But you can see he's laughing here. He knows it's over. He's obviously really upset. It's just a good matchup for me. And look at what happens. He goes Golem in the back again. So I just go Giant Skeleton at the bridge and go RG. He gives up at that point. He knows he has 2 Elixir, and I would have just, like, yeah, he's not happy. But you can see, complete hard counter to Golem. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, as I said, not an insane finish. You know, normally a 39th finish I would not be very happy with, especially if, like, say, last day of the season, I was, like, you know, first in the world with, like, a day left or something, and that's actually what happened. That's actually what happened the season before, and then I went on a massive tilt and only finished 500th. I was, like, first a lot the last week of the season, but I mean, but for me being kind of struggling this season, being at 6,800 with 7 hours left, pretty incredible, just incredible finish. You know, I can't complain. This might be my season. New CRL format starting, so I want to do my best to get points. You get points for your ladder finish if you finish top 1,000 on ladder. The higher in the top 1,000 you finish, the more points you get, and there's also the monthly qualifiers for you to earn points as well. So I'm going to do my best to make the CRL World Finals. And this season, hopefully I can end up getting a top 3 finish. Won't stress too much if I don't get it, but I'm going to do my best. I want to get, my goal for 2021 is to get a #1 finish at some point in 2021. Anyway, lots of talking in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like it if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And thanks again. Until next time, guys.